Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Harvard Business Review has just put a name to something that many of us have been feeling in the world of work, and that thing is Workslop. Now, when I say Workslop, what I mean is this mess that's created by AI generated content that everybody's asking for all over the place. But what happens when it starts to take what looks like productivity on the surface and actually drag the performance of the organization and the people with it down? Now, this is based on an article out of Harvard Business Review, but it's not just an article about this. It's actually tied to a big survey, an ongoing survey that's going on by BetterUp in partnership with Stanford Social Media Lab. So you can check that out. You can actually participate in the survey if you go look at the Harvard Business Review article. Right now, they've got like 1,150 full-time employees across industries. And what the study's already starting to show is close to half, 40% of people are already on the regular experiencing Workslop. They're receiving Workslop in the last month. And this is not limited. The stats are already showing it's not limited to a specific portion of the workforce. It's not just peer-to-peer. It's peers are doing it to each other largely, but they're also sending Workslop up. They're pushing Workslop down. Managers are pushing Workslop down to their folks. I mean, it's all the way around. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This is the new format of Future Focused. We're going to do a tighter, more condensed discussion on a deeper topic. We're going to go deeper on this. So if you find this kind of breakdown helpful for this, my goal in it is to make you go, so what? What should I walk away with and what can I do? And if you find this helpful, would you do me a favor? Like, subscribe, share this with somebody, a friend, a colleague who they may need to hear it and may need to hear future topics like this. That is the absolute best way you can help keep me making these episodes. So I am Christopher Lind, and this is Future Focused in our weekly update. So today I said I want to go deeper in this headline, and I'm going to share I'm going to break it apart into a couple different ways. One, I'm going to start by digging into some of the not so obvious things that come out of this. There's a lot of noise around this Harvard Business Review. There's a lot of hot takes coming on it. And I think some of those hot takes are valuable, but they miss what's actually going on underneath and some of the broader implications. So I want to unpack that. But then so you don't just walk away going, well, that's insightful. Great. I actually want to break it down and go, so what do you do? What do you do to prevent Workslop from messing up your teams, your organizations? So that's the format. So with that, let's transition into the first piece, these less obvious insights out of what we're seeing out of this. The first one that really occurred to me as I sat and looked at the data and just wrestled with it a bit was how this is actually lowering the collective bar of performance in an organization. This isn't just a one-off thing. It's not just kind of annoying or bothering somebody over here or over there, or obviously everywhere, but it's actually lowering the bar for performance. And the reason I say that is AI already takes the collective average of all the information it's trained on and then brings it back. That's what it's serving up, especially with like a one-shot prompt. And I know there's all this stuff out there that AI is genius, it's smarter than everybody else, it's all these other things, but it lacks context. It doesn't understand anything. So when you ask it for something and you just take it and pass it on, that is actually collectively lower than what just a intelligent human being would be able to come up with. So in doing so, you're not just like lowering the bar of that response. You're actually taking the overall bar of organizational performance in your teams, in your organization, and Workslop is actually now dragging these things down. And what can end up happening is if you're not paying attention to this, good enough is going to become the standard. As Workslop starts to integrate its way, this is why I want to get to the so what. As Workslop starts to integrate its way in and it just becomes normal, if you will, to accept, doesn't really say anything, doesn't really tell me anything, but it sounds good enough. That's suddenly going to become what's expected. That's where your bar is going to become when Workslop starts to integrate and embed itself in everything you do. And that has big implications. But I don't know a single senior executive or single senior leader that is actively saying to themselves, you know what we need to do? We need to lower the bar for our organization. We need to lower the bar on performance. And I don't think they're considering the fact that that is exactly what a lot of this AI effort is doing, because it's being done without a lot of intention or thought. It's just, all right, well, use it to help you with your work. Help, well, clearly just helping with the work isn't where it's going. And as a result, while this tended to focus on time wasted and things like that, overall, you are lowering the bar for your organization. And I don't, now, to be clear, I am not saying, so throw out AI. Okay, so don't walk away from, oh no, we're lowering the bar, so I should walk away. Not what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is this should perk up your ears and make you go, oh, okay, that's kind of a big deal. I should take seriously. The second one that is not discussed in this article, it's not discussed in a lot of the different things that I see, that this actually really resembles when I looked at the magnitude of Workslop in this, is the fact that this is a major amplification of risk. And if you say, I mean, how is just kind of like trivial slop amplifying risk? It seems passive. Seems like, well, if it's just meh, like, isn't meh moving down the line? Yeah, okay, you made a case that maybe it lowers the collective bar. Maybe that still hasn't, I hope that's gotten your attention, but maybe that still hasn't. But when you think about how this is amplifying risk, because if the people who are generating it, ideally, the people who are generating it are being paid to be the ones who are supposed to be mitigating risk. They're supposed to be looking for, like, hey, what are the things that we're not considering? And that's their job. They are specially trained and experienced in knowing how to manage that risk for whatever they're responsible for. If they are delegating that and taking AI's collective lowered bar answer, passing that along to other people, people are going to then go, well, if that's what the expert has to say, then we're going to operate off that. And then if the Workslop continues, that not so expert advice and perspective now gets translated again through more Workslop, which then takes it even further down by people who don't even know how to pick out, hey, what we just got from our expert actually wasn't all that much expertise. Like, we need more detail. This doesn't help. They're going to take it and go, well, I don't know. Like, that's what they're saying. They're the one with the job title that seems to say they're the one who should know all this. And that's what they said. So I guess if that's what they said, then here's what I'm going to say. And since I don't really understand it, I'll ask AI and it's going to give me a lower than collective average answer because I don't have time and I don't really understand what I received. So now I'm just going to create more Workslop, and it just compounds. That's the thing. And the problem is, because AI, it phrases things that, going back to what I said in my previous insight, it's good enough. It's good enough. I can't really say it's bad because I don't have the expertise to really say it's bad. So it sounds okay, but something about it feels off. Well, that then starts to just keep moving and nobody's really paying attention to it. And risks get missed by the experts who are supposed to be the ones identifying, mitigating, laying out plans for all this stuff. Those get missed, and that gets further mixed up in the Workslop blender that gets passed on to the next person who's going to miss it, going to miss it, going to miss it. It's all going to seem like everything's hunky-dory. And then by the time the problems surface, these problems have grown teeth and fangs and a really bad case of rabies. And it's going to absolutely become a systematic problem. And the house of cards, before you know it, is going to collapse in on itself. Now, that may sound dramatic. It may sound over the top. And yes, does it necessarily inherently mean that's always going to be the outcome. No, that is not what I'm saying. However, to deny the fact that this does not significantly amplify risk as people who are specialized and experienced in an area start to delegate and just allow AI to take something that they probably wouldn't even go, yeah, that's what I would say. It's close enough. Fine, move it on to somebody who doesn't know that it's not really accurate, that it's just close enough. So they're not even interpreting it that way. I mean, that's a major problem. But the third one that should punch everyone right in the stomach, and I will say, I'll share a little bit because this is one area that I thought the Harvard Business Review article at least did call some attention to, rightfully so, is there is a real tangible business cost to false efficiency. This whole idea that things are moving, they're good enough. I mean, I already said there's the cost of lowering your performance bar and amplifying risks beyond comprehension. But now we're actually talking about real financial dollars you are spending on junk, just pure junk. And so just to cite some of the things from it, in the survey, it says the average worker says they're spending about almost 2 hours, 1 hour and 56 minutes dealing with this Workslop. Now, I don't remember if this was on, like, I think that was per month or something like that. I'm guessing they are grossly underestimating this because in order to identify Workslop, you would actually have to know enough about it to see it and go, that's not, that's, I don't think that's right, type of a thing. So, okay, so I would actually say this is a very conservative estimation. This is also self-reported. So you're not necessarily, people are going to underestimate because they're just kind of throwing a number out there. But based on these estimates, if you think about it, they said they came up with on average a tax of $186 a month is the way they're framing it. And basically what they're saying with that is if you take the number of hours, you multiply it by, the average hourly rate of like everybody across all bands, this is what it's actually working out to. So if you think about that, if you're an organization of 10,000 workers, you're talking like $9 million a year just in pure wasted energy on that. Just wasted energy on somebody getting something that they're like, what did Christopher say? Like, does anybody know what he's actually trying to communicate? I don't know. Like, I'm not sure either. And because Christopher didn't write it himself, if you ask him a follow-up question, he's going to have to be like, wait, what did I say? I just copy and pasted that right out of Gemini. I'm not, hey, give me a minute to actually, right? This is the problem, is it has this compounding effect that is actually costing organizations real money. Now, the thing that this doesn't tack into that I think makes this an even bigger underestimate is the fact that you're spending money on this AI technology. This is not free. Yes, it got bundled into your Google Workspace and it got bundled into your Office 365 and it got bundled into every tool that you had. But the cost of those tools all went up, not to mention all the other efforts that you put into transformation and the change management and all this other stuff that like launched all these things out. So you spent real money on this already. This is an investment. And this investment is showing that if you don't put intention into it, it's actually an investment that is costing you in the long run, like a permanent tax that just gets tacked onto your organization. Now, does this mean like, oh my gosh, the end is near, Chicken Little, like run and scream? No. But I think this article really called attention to something that we need to pay attention to and we need to take seriously. It's why I do the work that I do in consulting to help say, hey, like, let's think about what we're trying to do here. What are we trying to accomplish? And what are the real human implications of this? Because if we don't think about those things, you are going to end up with Workslop. This is going to seem like a drop in the bucket after several years of this. And we actually start getting some quantitative longitudinal data on this. And it's not just a survey that's been cast out to the masses. I'm telling you, if we don't get this under control, this is going to be a real problem. But now I want to transition to so what? Okay, so I hope that by this point I have convinced you that Workslop isn't just a trendy hashtag on social media that you can chit chat with your friends in a meeting about, go, yeah, the Workslop. Yeah, me too. I know. But actually something you go, no, we need to take this seriously. We need to do something about this. And whether you're an individual or a leader or whatever, there's three things that immediately came to mind that I said, here's what you can do. Here's what you can do to push back the walls of Workslop and to actually fight against this cultural tide right now of just do more, do it faster. Who cares where it goes? Because we already are seeing where it goes and what it is, and it's not good. The first one is like, take the time to define really clear outcomes before you ask people to do things. Now, this, you might say, well, that's just the boss's job. No, that's if you're an individual and you're looking for help from a colleague or a team member, be clear on what it is you're looking for and not the AI outcome. I'm not saying set an AI outcome, perform more with AI. That's not what I mean. I mean, if you're asking your teams to do something, if you're establishing a new strategic direction, if you're reaching out to a peer and saying, hey, can you send me some of the details on this stuff? Be really clear what your end goal is so that good enough that AI can create doesn't just fill that gap, so that you have some sort of indication of how will I know and how do I communicate to those other people what I'm looking for. Because when it's not clear, what you're going to get is Workslop. Because when you're not clear, AI is a really good solution for that. If you're like, I don't know what they want, it seems like they're just asking for something and I don't, they'll probably be fine with whatever I give them. Then the lowered collective average of what AI generates will meet that need. And people will continue to gravitate towards that need. You have a much better chance of fighting against it and mitigating it if when you ask for something or when you tell people, here's what we're trying to accomplish, here's what I'm going to need from you, here's what I need your input on, here's where I need your effort focused, here's the kind of things I need you working on, and how I'm looking for that to be, and let them know what good looks like on the other end. If you take the time to do that, you're going to drastically reduce the probability that somebody's going to just ask AI and you just get a junk response. And on top of it, if you did a good job setting the outcomes and defining what you were looking for, you sure as heck better be able to detect if what you get back is Workslop. So this is something that seems so obvious that we go, well, yeah, of course I always set outcome. But do you really think about it? And would others say the same? If you were to ask somebody in your sphere of influence, how clear are you when I ask you to do something? How clear are you on what it is you want or what it is I want or what I need from you? I would encourage you to do that inventory. I think that's an application that we all can take is how clear are we on the ask that we have and how clear are we on what we're actually looking for so that people aren't as tempted to take some generic AI Workslop that shows up. Now, the second one is equally important, which is keeping in mind the fact that we need to do an audit of the workloads that we have placed on people and that people are managing right now. There is this myth right now that AI is this magic dust that you can sprinkle on anything and it just creates productivity. Productivity appears wherever AI is dusted and sprinkled. And the reality is it doesn't. I often make a reference to the law of conservation of energy. Energy cannot be created, it can only be transferred. And the same is true with productivity. When you think about the workload of your people and their productivity and their capacity, is there room to make it more efficient? Just like, are there more efficient way? Are we improving on solar panel efficiency? Yes. Is fusion vastly and infinitely more efficient than burning coal? Yes. Can AI help us improve some of the efficiency of our productivity? Absolutely. But it is not creating productivity from nothing. It's redistributing it from other areas. And so as people are going through this change, many people are being placed in this position of just do more, just do more, just do more and move faster. And now you have AI, so there's no excuses why you're not producing more and you're not doing more. Even though I just made the case, it's lowering the collective performance, it's amplifying risk, it's bogging everybody down. So you've actually now created more stuff that's competing for the limited productivity and capacity you have. And now is a really good time for you as an individual or you as a leader to actually say, hey, like, let's take a look at what we're working on here. And this isn't just because of AI Workslop. This should be happening anyway, but it often doesn't. And AI Workslop, like I said, it's an amplifier. AI is an amplifier. It's just going to make your problems worse. It's going to make them worse. And this is a problem already today. This is why we have burnout. This is why we have people struggling. People are stretched too thin. Now you throw AI on. This is a real problem. So you have an opportunity right now to say, let's actually do an audit. Let's re-examine what we're working on. What are we asking of people? Where is our capacity today? And let's see if there's things not just that we can streamline or do faster in partnership with AI. Are there things we can take off? And I'm telling you, every single team, every person, every organization has these things. Projects, initiatives, requests that were made that died on the vine, and somebody somewhere is still diligently working on this thing. And you're like, did anybody tell Bob that project? Nah, it's fine. He'll be okay. And now poor Bob's over here just working his tail off using Workslop to generate stuff. And the real important stuff he's now distributing even further and being spread more thin. This is a really opportune time to say, hey, everybody, let's pull together. Let's talk about what we're doing. What are we working on? How are we balanced? How are we distributed? And where might there be some opportunities for us to be focusing more of our time on things that really matter and not getting caught up in things that don't? Let's actually do that right now. Let's do a productivity audit. Let's figure out where these things are. Let's move it around. And then let's come back. Because the reality is, if workloads are already maxed, if people are already at capacity, AI is not going to raise quality. I hope by this point I have made that case crystal clear. It's going to stretch people even thinner than they already are, which is going to make them more likely to lean on AI to generate the AI slop, to fill in the gaps, to prop them up, to do all this, which is going to create the appearance of productivity when in fact all it's doing is rotting out your foundation and creating major holes and gaps that you're not going to see because they're covered with this well-painted paper mache that blends right in with the ground. So from a distance, you look off at the landscape and go, everything looks wonderful. You can't actually see it, and you won't notice till you start walking through the minefield or the whole thing collapses in on itself. Now, the third piece, the third application, just that I would encourage everybody to do is people will tend to do things until they're accountable to not do them. So you need to, okay, if this survey has not made it clear, you need to build accountability into this. So yes, it's good to define outcomes. Yes, it's good to audit your workload. But at the end of the day, if there's no accountability for what you're still asking people to do, AI Workslop is going to seem like a very convenient solution to the problem. And one of the reasons the slop sticks is because nobody questions it. Nobody questions. They get an email and they look at it and go, this makes absolutely no sense. It's very eloquently worded, but I don't have a clue what they're doing. And instead of going, hey, Bob, this email you sent, what are you talking about? Like, this doesn't answer my question at all. They just either take it and blindly run with it, or they'll put it into AI and go, what was Bob trying to say here? And now AI is making an assessment of the AI Workslop and trying to make sense of it for you. We've now created a disconnect in chain. And this all could have been avoided. So much of this could have been avoided is if something sniffs of Workslop, ask a follow-up question. Don't go accuse somebody. Don't be like, oh, it looks like you used a Copilot to write your email. That's not going to help. That's just going to put people on the defense. It's going to make them, push back, all this other stuff. No, just sincerely, out of curiosity, follow up on stuff, reach out to the person. Hey, real quick, Bob, how does what you sent connect back to the outcome I described? I'm struggling here. Maybe it's me. Help me understand your line of thought, because there is a good chance that, and poor Bob, if you're Bob and you're listening, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about you, but poor Bob probably was just moving fast, and in his head, he kind of knows what he's trying to say, and he asked AI and saw it, and he's like, yeah, it's close enough. I would know what to do with this, and he passes it along, not thinking that poor ignorant Christopher here is like, I'm not Bob. I don't know what he's talking about. This doesn't make any sense to me. And I can, in a very gentle and curious way, go back to Bob and say, hey, Bob, real quick, can you help explain to me, what were you really trying to get at here? I see you wrote this, but can you help break this down for me? What do I really need to know? And yes, in the short term, that takes more time. I get it. That's not the like fast solution. It's just faster to go, I don't know what Bob said. Let me ask Copilot. Copilot will tell me what Bob said. And then I can use what Copilot said about what Bob said that Bob got from Copilot, and I can repurpose it for what I'm going to ask Copilot to say for me that I'm going to pass down the chain. Like, right? I get it. Seems like it's taking more time to just say, hey, can we stop and actually talk about this and have a discussion? But that kind of accountability is what conditions and trains the culture and the environment you're in to go, hey, guess what? Workslop is not acceptable. Using AI to help assist you, to help with some of the busy work, to help make things more streamlined. And so, if I need something revised or something and you need to quick make an adjustment on it, you're not sitting clicky clacky on the keyboard. You're like, yeah, okay. But so it's not saying accountability so people are afraid to use AI. And that's why I say how you approach it really matters. It's not about calling people out. I noticed you have M dashes in your email. Like, oh, for Pete's sakes. Like, no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying when you detect that this thing is AI junk, lots of words that communicate absolutely nothing, gently and sincerely seek to understand. And over time, people will start to go, yeah, if I am going to use AI to do something, I better make sure I actually know what I'm doing. I've put thought into it. What AI is generating is actually what I would have said, so that when the questions come, because I know they're going to come, I know I'm going to be held accountable for this. I can't just trust it's going to get mashed up in the AI blender and everybody's going to go, who said this? I actually know that it's going to come back on me. So I'm going to make sure that whether I manually draft my thoughts or AI helps me draft my thoughts, they are my thoughts. They are what I would actually say. They are the things that I would communicate and that I can articulate. So when it goes down the chain, it's my thinking, it's my reasoning, it's my, risk mitigation built into it. And over time, that accountability will start to come, and it will lead to better AI practices. It won't lead to less AI. It'll lead to more effective AI, which is honestly one of the most important things that we need to get to, because the reality is AI is not going anywhere. It's not. So we need to stop moving for how do we stop it, or just continue pouring gas and go, well, it is what it is. Like, gosh, no. It's about how do we get everybody to be collectively more effective. And I think those are three things that you can do to actually drive that. So there you go. New format, little tighter, little deeper. Hopefully at this point you understand and we've gone past the hype and you recognize Workslop is more than just a buzzword, a term to describe messy output. It's an actual critical leadership issue that is going to affect the standards, the risks, and it comes with a cost. And the reality is you can't stop it from existing, but you can decide whether your culture will tolerate it or whether it's going to correct it. Because the reality is productivity is not just about producing more or going faster. It's about producing things that matter and delivering a high quality, meaningful product that solves problems for others. So There you go. Before you go, if this episode gave you something valuable, would you consider supporting the work I'm doing in one of two ways? One, you can go to buymeacoffee/Christopher Lind and you can just say, hey, Christopher, thanks so much. You know what? That was a really great insight, super helpful. I would have taken you out to lunch just for this 30-minute conversation I had with you because it would have really helped me in my week. That'd be a really easy, great way to do it. But another one is I have the consulting practice that I run, and this is where I focus. I help organizations solve these problems and wrestle through these challenges and focus in on where do we really need to do this and how do we bring people along for the ride. And that's why I do my consulting and why I defined and created the AI effectiveness rating, because I want to help people move forward better. So reach out if you want to talk more. And one other quick note, if you want to go hear more and do more, if the new structure of this, Mondays, I'm dropping the shorter, more condensed version of the podcast. But then on Fridays, because people really did enjoy the weekly rundown of the latest headlines, and I've already got those kind of framed up right now. I'm not going to spoil what they are. But on Fridays, I plan on doing a live Q&A event where I will do a rundown of some of the latest trending topics, but I'm going to focus them around some of the key questions people are asking around them and share perspective. And since it's live, if you have questions, you can show up, you can ask, and I will take them live. We'll talk things through together because in reality, that's the only way we get through this crazy, crazy time is we come together, we work together to try and help get to a better outcome. So with that, I hope you have a great week. I can actually say great week because now these are dropping on Mondays. So I hope you have a great week. I hope everything goes well, and we will see you on the other side.